Alright, really good first half of the day. Hi everyone, by the way. This video is going to end up being a little similar to either yesterday or the day before, where I was late to the session. I was late again today, so I just cut off my normal start to the day, which is editing the previous day's video, just getting some review in, figuring out where I was yesterday, where I want to take that today. And then I also skipped over my normal intro because that's what I would usually do right after that in that time. So instead, I'm just starting at the midpoint of the session, and yeah, I decided to take a lighter day physically today, but still stay on track as far as like the same time investment I would do, even though I slept in a little bit last night, or slept a little later today than I normally would, because I'm fighting off this it's sort of like I think it's just a transitional thing in my respiratory system from moving from my current place to my new place and just adapting to that. Because I've been here for 8 years, and so I think I'm just really adapted to this space, and it's just, going to take a little time to transition. But rest is huge for me when I start feeling compromised, and I pushed it way too hard yesterday, like I said in yesterday's video. And so I wanted to give myself a break from tracking, as difficult as that is to let that go. I think it's the right call right now. Just give my body a rest, give my ears a rest, and just give my soul a rest, honestly. And then I can come back with some fresh ears and fresh perspective in the next couple days. But the good news is there's tons backlogged as far as online classes and skills I want to grow go. So I just sat down with my goal journal at the beginning of the session and really looked at the big picture, like where I want to be in 5 years, where I want to be in 10 years. Started thinking about, okay, what do I need to tweak today, or what would I want to tweak today to accelerate my progress toward those goals? And I realize, rest is a big deal for me right now, and that's something I think that I could get a lot more of, and that would really enhance my performance. And it's a really good place for me to be, I think. The past few years, it's been tough for me to prioritize rest because I like to prioritize doing. I feel like that's when I feel the most accomplished, but the reality is, like, you can only put so much input into the body and the system before you're making yourself worse, and you need recovery time so the body can integrate all that information and you can actually perform. And Steph Curry's been talking about that in his master class, and I really want to integrate that more into my life. I've also realized that one of the ways I can become more efficient with my tracking and my music making and just my creative process in general, and the business that I'm building around that, is just to learn more. And I think the more knowledge I have on any given subject, the more leverage I have time-wise with it. Because if I have the perspective of a master, I'm going to be able to get from beginner to master so much more quickly than if I have the perspective of a beginner, and then I start at the beginning and then learn all those lessons along the way, right? So the classic example was this photography class I'm taking with Annie Leibovitz, and I was like, oh, first thing I need to learn in order to, become a photographer and understand it is, like, I need to know about cameras. But actually, that was the opposite of what she recommends. She's like, the gear you use doesn't matter. It's all about knowing how to see, how to use lighting, how to understand your subjects, and, like, just taking a lot of pictures and experimenting and figuring out what you like, what you don't like, and developing a point of view, your own voice, as it were. Or your own perspective as a photographer. And she's like, the gear, is irrelevant. I try to use as little as possible. There's a couple techniques I use, but other than that, it's pretty much just, showing up and relying on years of experience and instinct, which makes so much sense when you think about it, right? So simple when you get the master's point of view. But also the reality is I will want a better camera. I've been doing this vlog on GoPros, and, it's fine. And the vlog's been kind of lo-fi just on all fronts for a long time, but I'm ready to take my video production and editing skills to the next level. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about getting some better photography and just some better tools for that. So I realize, to get that, I want to do research, and I need to learn more, and I'm looking into video editing classes. I think the main things for me right now, knowledge-wise, are more songwriting skills, which I think for me really comes down to storytelling right now. That's a big component of everything I'm about to embark on right now. Better production skills in general, so that's audio production and video production, which dovetails with storytelling, but also has a lot of technical elements added onto it. So that's mixing, mastering, recording, arranging, all that stuff, and then getting good performances out of myself. It's strange kind of being producer and artist in the same head, but I'm starting to develop those different headspaces and just get better at managing myself that way. And then the third thing is just better marketing skills, which also really just comes down to storytelling and just, educating, inspiring, provoking a reaction in people, just whatever your thing is. So I'm going to take a storytelling class. I'm going to start reading some storytelling books. I started doing some research on video editing. I watched a video on one of my favorite YouTubers' current video setup, the gear he uses, the software he uses. That was extremely informative and helpful because I like his aesthetic. I would love for my videos to have, that's at least some of what he has and make it my own. And then I got into the Steph Curry class. That was just more about his warm-up and about just being prepared, which, again, dovetails well with what I'm talking about, just building my mental game. Then into the Annie Leibovitz class, which was more about getting on location and some assignments for that, which is photographing the same subject in a studio versus outside or in a place that they're comfortable with or that they spend a lot of time, and just developing an opinion about what you like better as a photographer. And then I just jumped deep into the video stuff and did a quick guitar practice just to get some music, spirit flowing through me for the day. So I'm going to take a little breather right now, have some food, and then just keep absorbing knowledge. I think I'm going to be a sponge over the next few days while I let my body heal. And then I think I'll be able to jump back into the tracking with a fresh perspective. So talk to you guys in a few. Okay, good second half of the day and very good day overall. I just had a really good break, ate some food, rested up a bit, did some research into food scales, and then realized that probably the best move for me is not to get a new scale, but to actually switch the app I'm using to track my calories and my macronutrients. So I did that, and I'm excited about that. Then, because nutrition affects everything that I do, then I edited half of yesterday's video and then got cut off because it was taking a really long time. There was kind of a lot in there for me to explore. And then I jumped into more video production research and eventually just realized, that's not the priority for me right now. And it's kind of been hanging over me for a while, like, oh, I really want to learn how to do great video. And what I've come to realize is, the most important thing right now is still, how do I make the best possible music that I'm humanly, physically, possibly capable of making? Because without that, great video, great photographs, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. So that's still the number one focus, and it always will be. And it's good to just be reminded of that. So the main things for me to be focusing my learning and rest time on right now are just straight up R&R, just relaxing, really actually getting into a place where I can chill, maybe even shut off my sort of like move me forward on my goals mind, but I can still watch music and other related things that are cool, great films, great books, great works of art in general. I was listening to this Rick Rubin podcast with Tim Ferriss, and he was talking about how that's great inspiration. Next thing is music production knowledge. So that's just huge, making my production values the best they can be, getting the best performances and most honest performances out of myself. So that dovetails nicely with this Rick Rubin interview where he was talking about what he does with artists, which is really just listening to them and just reflecting back things that they may not have even realized about themselves, and sort of going on a journey to discover who they really are and what their vision really is. And what I did, honestly, guys, is I just started talking into the phone, and I had my producer part of the brain just ask the artist part of my brain, like, okay, how do you see yourself as an artist, and what do you want this project to be about? And I just started talking, and it was amazing the stuff that came out, because our minds, there's so much going on internally that for some reason, just when we get talking about something, we're able to synthesize all these ideas, or I am. And so I'm sort of using that to my advantage, like I'm sort of coaching myself psychologically with these different parts of my mind, different parts of myself. So should be interesting. I'll let you guys know how that goes. Then the next thing is just songwriting, melody and harmony knowledge, just deepening that as deep as I possibly can go and knowing everything about that I possibly can. Recording techniques, getting more and more information about what makes things sound good, what great sounding records are like, what that means, what you want to do with that. Mixing and mastering technique, again, just what makes great music sound great, what makes great music, period, going back to the sort of core element, storytelling, songwriting, that kind of thing. And those are the main things that I want to focus on. The other main things to focus on right now are performance psychology, meaning how do I get more efficient at delivering great performances so I can cut down on my tracking time, because that's a huge drain on my time and energy right now. And then and that dovetails with instrumental growth, like guitar practice, learning from great players, drum practice, more Benny Greb stuff, just becoming a better player so it's easier for me to deliver great performances quickly. And then third, in the main triangle of things to focus on in my learning time right now is just marketing in general, digital marketing specifically, because that's going to be the focal point of my brand going forward. And getting deeper into the Gary Vaynerchuk stuff, and then video production and photography are really just a subcategory of that marketing piece. So it's good to contextualize that and realize, like, okay, do I want to spend $5,000 on another camera, or do I want to spend $5,000 on a new computer so I can edit video faster? It's like, okay, I gotta take a step back and prioritize, like, what part of the puzzle is that, so I can allocate my resources appropriately, time and energy, money, all that stuff. So probably the thing that I'm going to be investing in the most over the next few weeks is just more music making knowledge, songwriting, maybe getting into some online music production classes, listening to more interviews with great producers, etc., etc., etc. Just trying to grow my music making skills, because that's always going to be 90% of the puzzle. And then the other 10%, if I have great music, honestly, that stuff, I feel like even if it's just okay marketing, but your music is killer, that's better to me than killer marketing with just okay music. So yeah, today overall was a success. I got some really good rest in. I'm feeling a lot better than I was at this time yesterday, that's for sure. And I'll probably continue to rest up tomorrow, but also get back into the tracking mode, writing mode, and finish up these tunes I'm working on. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, enjoying the process. That's what I'm out here doing, just doing my best to have fun with it, all the ups, all the downs. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for more. Can't wait.